Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Success Academy. I'm Sheshan Dias and I'm here today again with Haseeb and we're going to be discussing quite an interesting topic today. So this again is an IELTS topic and we'll be talking about it in terms of whether we agree or disagree with this topic. So Haseeb, can you introduce what the topic is?
Parents put a lot of pressure on their children to succeed. To what extent do you agree or disagree?
Parents put a lot of pressure on their children to succeed. Okay, to what extent do you agree or disagree? So now, when you take this type of question, right, extent type questions, the best way to go about this is to select whether you agree or disagree, make it clear right in the introduction, and then write 2 paragraphs as to why you agree. You don't have to write for both sides. It's a misconception that most people believe that when you get extent type questions, you have to write 1 point as to why you agree, 1 point as to why you disagree. But this is not the case. You just say, I agree, and both your points have to be on why you agree.
That's a smarter way.
That's a smarter way of going about it.
But if you write agreeing points and disagreeing points, will you be penalized?
You might be penalized for it because the expectation is that you select the side that you agree with or the side you disagree with and then writing 2 paragraphs for it. Now if you're going to write 3 paragraphs, then you can write 2 points as to why you agree and 1 point as to why you disagree. So now you're balancing it out in terms of, okay, I've written more points to the side I'm speaking about than 1 point to the contrary. But of course, with an IELTS essay, writing 3 paragraphs is not a wise decision unless you're someone that's exceptionally good at writing. Make sense?
Yeah.
Alright. Getting into the topic itself, what do you think? Do you think that parents put pressure on their children to succeed? First of all, do you agree or disagree with this?
Okay, I'd like to point out this is a very subjective question.
It is. So anyway,
very subjective on like a personal basis, a cultural basis, like in terms of where you live also it's very different. And it also like changes from like your class as a family, like low income earner, middle income earner, a rich kid. For me personally, there is expectation.
Yeah. So see, when you're writing this kind of essay, lift your mic up a little bit. Okay, so when you're writing this kind of essay, yes, it is subjective, right? And depending on your personal experience, you can elaborate on this particular topic. So I believe as we are discussing as well, first let's discuss our own perspectives and our own experiences. Maybe later on, once we have discussed maybe 2 points to agree, 2 points to disagree, then we can look at a few other points that are not our personal experiences, but are external factors. Okay. Personally for you, is there an expectation?
And the older you get, the worse it becomes.
Okay, what type of expectation? So when you say succeed, like what does that mean? What type of expectation would they have?
Okay, first of all, my parents used to have or he used to be something important. I think doctor, engineer. I think a lot of brown parents like that from their children. But at some point they realized that, okay, this guy is not going to be here, so let's invest in the other child. So my brother has become the second favorite now.
Okay.
But even still, they do expect me to do well in life. They don't want me to slack off and like they're like, okay, you do your own thing, you're clearly like more into like doing your own thing. So they were like, do it, but don't slack. But at some point, you have to contribute to the family. However that is. Their major thing is, I don't mind you doing anything as long as it's respectable. According to them.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming like could mean like a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But the major pressure is like they just want like a financial income coming from me towards the family that can help support the family. That's the major expectation. Other than that, yeah, it's not a lot.
Okay. When you take
also, I'd like to just point out that they have good intentions and like because just how they.
So I believe any parent would want their children to succeed, right? So when you're going about writing this, I suppose the best way to move forward would be to first write a personal experience, right? So the first paragraph you write can be what you said. My parents put this kind of pressure on me, right, to contribute financially to the family, to have a respectable job, to have a respectable career, all of these things. Then we can move on to a more generic point. So I believe South Asian parents culturally have a lot of expectations. Like every bloody Indian comic, that's what they talk about.
Yeah.
Right? How their parents. So I watch a lot of Russell Peters. That's all he talks about. Hassan Minhaj, you watch the guy?
Yeah.
Same thing.
That guy is a bit fake. Can't believe.
Yeah, he's a bit fake, but
You know, he talks in, right?
I have heard a few
He made jokes about like racism. Like as an Indian, he got racist, but then apparently it was completely.
I've heard that. I've heard those things before. I used to like his, he had a political show that he was doing. What was he called?
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yes. But he talks about that a lot, on the pressure he gets. And then Chinese comics, they talk about this a lot, right? And
Asians.
It's mostly Asians. Why do you think that is?
It's just poor.
It also... Chinese are poor.
Bro, like per capita. Like in terms of you take the individual, like how they're doing as a country, they're rich, but like as single players, a lot of poor people in China. A lot of poor people in Sri Lanka, a lot of poor people in India, although India is a booming economy. Most of the people live in slums. And the way that you get out of life is for you to get a respectable job that can ensure financial security, job security, and that can provide for your family that you want to create. Create, I guess. The family you want to have with your partner and support your parents and their medical fees and all of that stuff.
So, in Western countries, you don't think this pressure exists?
I don't think, like, in Western countries, you get a lot of it in comparison. However, there are poor regions in Western countries where there is an expectation. I feel like it just has to do with if you're poor or rich. If you're rich, like,
bro, you think if you're rich, that your parents don't have the expectation for you to succeed?
No, but it's not a do or die situation. Like if you're rich and if your kid is a spoiled brat and like he's not gonna become someone, you're still good. You don't have to pressure that child, you don't have to beat him or like instill discipline or anything. Now of course there's a questioning of like, is that proper parent? And that's a different subject. However, like the pressure on the parents to pressure the child to do well is not there when you're rich and well off. Because at the end of the day, you can still live off your dad's money. But when you're poor, your parents don't doing it out of necessity. Yes, you have to do it because it's a means of survival. You know what I'm saying? And you can't fault parents for pressuring someone. Fault.
Yeah.
But at the same time, coming from first-hand experience, it sucks.
It does. There's some parents unduly pressure their children.
Yeah.
Especially I've seen when I was going to school, I've seen parents come and cry when their child doesn't get into the top 3, say first and second or third in the class.
Yeah, actually that's insane.
That's insane. Bro, now I'm an examiner, right? So I go for examining for the tuition exams and all that. Now, I've had parents come up with, so we give 3 medals, right? Bronze, silver, gold. When we have like a talent competition, like everyone gets a medal based off of their marks. If you get like, let's say 60s, you get a bronze. If you get 80s, you get a silver. And 90s is a gold, right? So, I've had parents just come up to me and start crying. Because the kid who is like 6 to 7 years old got a bronze medal, right? And the kid doesn't care.
Yeah,
the kid is like, I don't really mind it. It's 6 years.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 6 years. I got a medal, but he got bronze.
Yeah, you got bronze.
I probably went to his parents like, Mom, Dad.
But the tailors, they'll come there like, and then literally start crying like, my kid deserved the goal. It just missed one line. I'm like, yes, that is why he got the It's nuts.
I got just 2 examples in terms of like pressure I've seen personally, and that is we had this dude at school. He would always come top one top, and he was kept that way, like forced to study. Like he was pressured to do bio and become a doctor to a point where it happened from such a young age. That kid was anyway bright, and he was coming first and second from grade 5 onwards, all the way up until A-level. There's a lot of pressure from your parents, so he couldn't do anything. Like he couldn't explore at all. And then what happens is after you go out of school is when he realizes, oh shit, I'm really bad at socializing, networking. I'm really bad at, like, I don't have
multitasking, doing sports. Completely gets kicked out of the bucket.
Yeah. That is, like, I feel like a toxic form of pressure.
So many parents go, like, when it comes to O-levels and A-levels, they stop everything. There's so much pressure to get 9 A's for O-levels. But when you were applying for jobs, did it ever matter what your O-level result was?
Actually,
no. No one asks for O-level results. It's like this.
You ask if you have
passed well enough to do A-levels. That is, but if you get, let's say, 6 C's and 3 S, you're still qualified to do A-levels.
But then again, I don't know if I'm the perfect example, because I have connections to a point where all of the jobs I've gotten have been through people I know. And obviously,
that is the case.
Nepotism and picking, what's that other way called? No. Nepotism is really very from the family, very to friends. It's called something-ism. So, point is, I got into connection.
I'm doing fact checks for this, by the way, so since you don't know a word, I'll fact check it and I'll put it.
That's another word, a nice word.
Okay.
But if you go to a friend, normally those qualifications don't really count as you got the thing just by
the thing is, okay, like I said, your qualification of O-levels doesn't matter to a point where you only need it to do A-levels. So don't fail, obviously. But just pass.
Okay, think of it from this perspective. What if it's a family that's coming from who don't have any network?
Still, you need to do well at A-levels, is my point. Like, the pressure should come
to A-levels.
Or for A-levels. You get it?
But then that's messed up. How are you going to know what you're going to do when you're like 17?
You don't. Which is why you choose the easiest one to get 3 A's for.
Which one you got, right?
I got 2 A's and a B. But I chose commerce. Right? Because I knew I could do everything else I wanted to in school and still pass well.
Yeah, but then there are some kids, man, who want to go for medicine.
That's different. So see, a kid who wants to do medicine or a kid who wants to do engineering, most of those kids know they want to do it by the time they come to O-levels or
No, they don't, bro. That's my point. They don't. I've known a lot of people who went into biofield who changed later.
Those guys, see, okay, when we took higher level section, let's say maths, half the guys failed. But those half that failed were the people that weren't really into it. Like they were pressured by their parents to come and do this. But those that got 3 A's were the ones who wanted to do it. Right? So, the kids who feel like they don't want to do it, or who feel like they want to do something else, should be given the freedom to then switch to commerce or arts or whatever else they want to do. And that's where the pressure factor comes in.
Sure. To bring it back to this dude who I told was like pressured, so he went to Dubai, and then the whole. So he was so pressured into it. I still don't know to this day if he actually wanted to be a doctor. Or whether if it's like something instilled by their parents, right? And then what happened is he didn't fail, but he didn't get good enough results to go from locally.
Yeah.
So now he's stuck in a loop where he has to get good results to go to locally because he can't afford the private uni prices.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I don't know if he's actually want to be a doctor, or if he's like, I don't have a choice now. I gotta do what I can do. Or
that's crazy because see, if you are that sick, there's two sides to it also. Like some children need to be pressurized.
yeah,
Some kids they never realize they're 25, 30, they're still living with their parents, and you get people like that. But overall, I suppose if you generalize this point, I believe in our country, if you were to speak about our personal experiences, yes, parents definitely pressurize their children to succeed.
yeah.
So how you can write the 2 points for agree would be, yes, so you can first write about your personal experiences, then you can write about the country as a whole. How Sri Lanka in general
He's a poorer.
is a poorer country, and the parents, because of a necessity to succeed, they pressurize their children.
As a means of survival.
As a means of survival. That's why a lot of people are going abroad as well, right? So many people, like, sometimes they don't even have money to do IELTS, right? We get so many phone calls like that. And I'm thinking to myself that you don't have X amount of money to do IELTS. Then how are you going abroad? Like, where is your show money? How are you going to survive?
People are like, let me figure it out later.
They've understood that. That's crazy. So, if someone were to disagree with the fact that parents pressurize their children, do you think someone can disagree with this?
Yeah, if we're rich. Got dad's money.
So again, personal experiences would be a way to go about writing it, yeah? If you're disagreeing with it,
I mean, okay.
imagine a child saying after no pressure from the family, bro, that's...
I mean, there are children like that. I feel like
those children are just neglected.
Would be that's one. The other side of the story is the parents are actually like they've reached a level to a point where they understand that pressuring their children only does more harm to them than good. And they've adopted like a better, like more healthier parenting style that can let the kid explore and find. By the way, this could be a fairy tale what I'm explaining, but I'm saying like there could be parents that exist like that who take a healthy approach and.
Bro, have you heard of Vyasa Sevaki? The guy who owns Spinach?
No.
So he talks about his childhood in like a couple of podcasts that he has done. And one thing he says is how his dad brought him up. So he says, my dad never pressured me to study. He didn't pressure me at all. He just encouraged me to do like sports and extracurriculars. And he said from the time I was a kid, I should have riding a bike. That was my whole gist. And if I'm not mistaken, he didn't do that well at O-levels. He did A-levels decently. And then he said like, because I did not feel so much pressure, when I went to a job and I started working there, I felt the need to help my family succeed, right? Because I had a great childhood. I was not pressured into my studies like all my friends were. And I was just able to live my best childhood possible. And then when I went into the corporate environment, I took the pressure upon myself. And then I worked really, really hard. And he said because of the lack of pressure I had, I was able to do so many things that helped me build my creativity, that helped me build my critical thinking, and all of that. So that is just one example of good parenting, I suppose.
Yeah, but then sometimes we can be so poor, it's like, I'm not going to risk this guy going and exploring, and like, he's too dumb. I have to be on his ass and like make sure he gets his stuff done. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
For me personally, I did have quite a bit of pressure for O-levels and so for my studies in general. But my parents really encouraged me to do a lot of other things as well. Like my mom was the one who pushed me to go for drama at school. they encouraged me to go for a lot of other things, choir, drama, interact, debating, and all this stuff I found by myself. But they never restricted me from going for anything. There were instances, like for example, my O-level year, they didn't want me doing a lot of other things. But then I ended up doing shakes anyway. And then, so because I did shakes that year, when it came to my A-levels, again, I acted in my A-level year as well.
You got 9 years old.
I got 9 years old. So when I acted in my A-level year, my parents were totally fine with it. They were like, okay, you know you'll do a decent job at A-levels, so whatever you want to do, acting and whatnot, like go ahead. So we were doing prefect sheet, I was doing so many other things. And my parents were totally cool with it, totally fine with it. So that was good. Nonetheless, I did feel a lot of pressure to get that result. And in a way, I thought it was a good thing, because if they let me go at that point, I probably wouldn't have focused so much on my studies either. I would have gone completely to do extracurriculars and just focused on that instead of focusing on my A-levels.
So I think pressure, there should be like there should be a
decent level of pressure. Like all parents should push their children.
I feel like so up until, you can't say it like that. I was going to say that up until like you're 16, you should, like your parents should probably pressure you like do well in life. I feel like more than pressure, it should be direct.
Direct, yeah.
Your parents should be the director of your life, and then this is the general direction you need to go to until you reach this age. After that, you do whatever you want.
Yeah, I had a lot of pressure. I think after I finished my course, because my parents' dream for me was to go to local university. And actually, during A-levels, there's a lot of pressure to get 3 A's.
You couldn't want to local.
I did get selected, but I got 2 A's and a B. Right? So I got into the university my parents wanted me to go to. It was Jayawardhanapura, but I didn't go. But leading up to that, A-level 2, the 2 or 3 years of my A-levels, there's a lot of pressure. To the point where like my mom had a board in my home saying Japura. That was fun. But so then I finished A-levels and then I got selected there. But I adamantly refused to go. So first of all, I got an internship at MAS.
Oh,
yeah. And then immediately as like a week following, so and I refused to go there. So I went there one day,
And you're like,
not for me. Not for me. And
a lot of people, like their internship is at MAs, they're like pretty like,
no, it's chill, bro. There's nothing wrong.
It's chill until a certain period and then it gets tough eventually.
I don't know. I wouldn't know like what it is at the top level over there. But as an intern, I can tell you, like, if someone is, let's say, wants to go and do an internship, I would never discourage them because it's fantastic. Like, you get breakfast, lunch, I think you get tea also, and you have like a buffet there. I went to, forget what it's called, right? And bro, and that company is awesome. Like, everything is high tech. The officers are so nice. The people are so cool. Everything. I would never discourage anyone from going there because it's awesome. But my whole thing has been, I don't want to work in one place from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
That I can't do.
Yeah.
If I want to go for lunch at 1 and then turn up back to work at 4, I want to be able to do that. Right? That was my problem. Nothing else. It had nothing to do with the people, nothing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I refused to go there. And then I got into Japura and I refused to go there. So you can imagine how that felt. It was a big disappointment. But there was a lot of pressure during that time. A lot of pressure because, see,
this is when you're technically
yeah, I was like 20.
Doesn't matter to brown parents.
Yeah.
Especially from 5 years of age all the way up until you're 30.
So the pressure was to do a proper job because I think my entire family even extended family, are people who have succeeded by doing a good job. Parents, they did well at their jobs, so they were able to have what we have. Uncles and aunts, most of them have done jobs and succeeded at it. They're doing quite well. Right? So for them, the logical next step after A-levels was go and do a good job, which was sensible to them. But for me, it did not make any sense. And
You haven't started IELTS.
My whole thing, it was not that I was hell-bent on starting IELTS, I was hell-bent on doing public speaking or whatnot. I just didn't want to work a job. That was my sole motivation. And then I did end up working at a company. And you
know that.
So I believe that's the only point in my life that I can say I got
depressed.
Yeah.
You earned that at the start. You were very
I was very excited for it, and I got
very happy.
Started.
And then slowly,
because again, that was due to the experience and the knowledge I had got from home.
I also think it was a case of getting a salary.
What do you mean?
By getting a substantial amount for the first time in your life as a salary, you can spend on things, but then you won't realize how much you have to give up for that certain amount, and then
that was the only time in my life where I don't know how to put it. I lost control of my emotions. I believe.
Good way of saying that you cried. I definitely too. That's a very smart way of saying. Yeah, I lost my emotions, guys. I don't know what happened. Someone was cutting onions, what I was cooking. Normally I have dance for that.
So right. So you can just dance here.
Lost control, guys. Lost control. Bro, you're the reason.
Bro, that's how I know
they say this is why we get called toxic. What the hell's wrong with you?
No, so I usually have good emotional control. I'm not sensitive or not, I'm good control. But during this time, 6 months that I worked in a company, I was down and out. And I believe, the reason I left, right, or the reason that I got the courage to tell my boss I was leaving was, I think, 5.5 months down the line. This is 2 weeks before I gave notice. Right? My dad and mom sent me a message saying, don't worry, take any decision you want, we will be there to back you. So I saw that message, I got up, I went to my manager's office and I said, I'm leaving. That's it. Right? Because leading up to that, my biggest fear for leaving was that I would be letting my parents down.
Yeah.
Right? Because, bro, I see my dad and my mom work 9 to 5 jobs without complaining their entire lives. Right? I've never seen my dad or mom wake up and then complain about the work they have to do. Right? Mom, when we were going to school, would wake up at 5 in the morning, cook our meals, do everything, and then leave for her job and then come back home and again start cooking and cleaning and whatnot. No break. Right? Dad does the same thing, not that he cooks, but he cleans. He washes the clothes, he cleans the house, whatever. When I wake up, still, I go down, I lay on the couch, and I'm there for half an hour, just trying to wake up. So dad and mom, with the moment they wake up, they're just up and moving about.
They have a routine.
They have a routine. And so for those 5 months leading up to it, I was being really immature. I was angry all the time. I wouldn't talk to my parents.
And they noticed it.
They noticed it. They really noticed. They were getting upset by the fact that, because I was not a person like them. I was someone who I love my parents, I talked to them, I'd rather all of them. But these 6 months, I lost it. And in the end, I remember very clearly that message. As they sent it to me, I saw it, I got up, I left, I went to my manager's office, sat down and said, I'm leaving. That's my only fear. I think my entire life.
Bro, that's the best news you could ever have.
Oh, that was so.
I can feel it. I can feel it for it. Just, I got the message. I'm going. I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
I'm leaving, boss.
Yeah. that pressure, the pressure I felt in life was letting my parents down. Like that's one thing I never wanted to do. One instance again was during why you know the flow. So we had a director who was pretty toxic. Right, so we had this director, our director was very toxic, and we had an incident back in school, I think in 2017, where he was blackmailing, right? And you remember this?
Yeah.
So he was blackmailing me that he would complain to my parents and the higher management of school that I had done a certain thing. So what I had done was I had a girlfriend, right? And I was going to her house frequently, and I was meeting up with her outside of school. So he was blackmailing me. So my parents didn't know that I had a girlfriend at the time. So I was dead scared. Like, I didn't mind getting sacked from school. I was just scared of my dad. Right? And he knew that. So now, obviously, if he went to higher management at school, they would call my parents. So that's what I was afraid of. And if I knew that my parents would back me up at that point, and I'm sure looking in hindsight, I know they would have. Right? Because a certain incident happened right after that made me realize that whatever I did wrong, my parents would back me. Right? But I didn't know that at that time.
I think that was strategic by them. To not let him know that they have your back until it comes to it, because then you just
I would have done so many other things if I knew they would back me up. But where I really understood my parents, no matter how much they pressured me to back me up, was when I lost prefectship in school. So I got kicked out of being a prefect, and I thought my parents would be mad or whatever. I didn't know because I was really emotional at that point. So I called my dad and I told him I lost prefectship, and I couldn't again. I lost control of my emotions. Right?
You're still doing it. But fine, it's your podcast. Do whatever you want. It's fine.
And I remember my dad cut the call. And like 10 minutes after, he had sent an email to Rector calling Rector an animal, saying he's not fit to run school. And by the time I get to him, there's like this whole fiasco happening, and I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that.
Okay, to the contrary, like my parents aren't that. Okay. My parents were never, they never wanted to get involved, and whenever there's something went wrong, their response was always like, we probably did something wrong, please. They wouldn't like come get involved, and I'd be like, it's two different styles of it.
In my case, it's like this. Now, I'm not saying they would have backed me up every time I did something wrong, right? But my point is, like, when I was growing up now, my dad, when he comes to parents' meetings, he used to tell my teachers, hit this guy, I don't care. Smash him, hit him, trash him.
Yeah, my mom would say the same.
No problems, right? But what was different in these situations, the drama thing I didn't know, so I had to sort it out by myself. Parents did not know about anything until like 2 years later. But in this prefectship issue, the reason they got involved was there was nothing really wrong on my end, because I had met all the criteria to be a prefect. The school's complaint was that I was sleeping in class, I was not in class, and my books were incomplete. Fortunately, I completed all my books before they checked it, so that kind of became invalid. Then my dad said, look, if he's falling asleep in class, it's because he's doing a lot of other things. And probably also with the teachers are not that interested. Teachers are like, what? Right?
Yeah, actually.
And then he was like, he's not in class again because of like he's a prefect, he's doing drama. There's a lot of other stuff because in school they have to go out for those things. And so again, like I was so surprised he handled it that way, because I thought when they told him that I was not in class, he'll come home and trash me. Like, he did scold me at home, but on the outside he never showed me. That was great. So for me, I believe it was a very positive pressure that I got. It was only those like 2 years of not going to uni to then be stable where I had a lot of pressure to do a job, go abroad. Those two march out. I'm telling you, that was nagging in my head. But after that, again, once they realized, okay, now I'm stable, like there's no point in me going abroad because I've already made it to a certain level here, and I don't have to do a job. That's when they kind of got off my back.
Now you are doing a job. You found a job that suits your life.
Exactly. You found a job that allows me to do what I want to do.
Yeah. And you're running a business.
So that pressure, I believe, was really positive and really good. But I don't think a lot of other people, a lot of other parents feel that. And children are also not proactive enough to understand what they want. Now, in my case, especially with this whole job and abroad situation, I understood what I want. I knew I did not want to do a job. I knew I did not want to go abroad.
So by what you wanted, you mean you
I what I didn't want.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because a lot of people don't want it.
Yeah, I didn't know what I wanted.
You knew that.
You know the one thing I want? I wish this podcast would take off so that I can just do this.
Subscribe.
And subscribe to the channel would be immaculate.
Yes.
This is the one thing I love to do that I haven't been able to monetize. But this is what I want to do, and it took me a long time to figure that out. But I knew what I didn't want. And a lot of children know what to do. So, but a lot of children are not proactive enough to take a stance and make that clear. I believe 95% of the children, if they got the pressure I did to go to locality or even go abroad, they would have followed through. They would never have to go. I had my uncles calling me. I had people from abroad, like my uncles from abroad, they were calling me saying, I managed to get into locality or waste this opportunity. Japur a recall. And I thought that was being or anyway, like a top guy and Japur called me because my mom was working there. So she got from the trip to call me. But even there, I was just like, I knew not doing. So that to take that pressure is not easy. A lot of people crumble at that.
So yeah, from our perspective, there is a lot of pressure, and for you, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
For me, I would say I would also agree that it's a good thing. Push that next time.
Yeah. Some children go mad because of too much pressure given by the parents.
You know what happens to those kids? They fall in love, they're dependent on the girlfriend, and the girlfriend lays on them, they're like,
They depend on a lot of external validation. So I suppose if...
And drugs. It's not its drugs.
So you saw that serious issue.
I think it's not to talk about it because there's a lot of bad things about I thought. Initially, yeah, there was speculation. Initially, what I thought is not the case.
In fact, even what the news is saying is
not this. So vandalism is also like I think they had the
journalism has always been twisted.
There is humor yesterday at the messed up thing. I think I'm assuming that it was definitely I saw a huge queue. I'm not in people come massive as big as task.
In this while the fuel was going on.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that it's there. There was a lot of people and a lot of like expensive vehicles, which I'm assuming is them. But like, it's like defect, like a huge aspect. What to do?
Yeah. So parents, I suppose, need to create a very accepting environment for their children. Because if children know that they can look at that kid, right, who went to Singapore, then it's the Josephine who did that. Who committed suicide. So this guy had gone to Singapore, and so this was during COVID. So because this kid went to someone else's room to give a couple of water bottles, the Singaporean authorities revoked his acceptance to the university.
What?
Yeah, because he violated the COVID regulation. So he was under curfew, COVID, what's it called?
Stay inside.
Yeah, it was called curfew order, right? So this guy violated the curfew, went into someone else's room, his friends, to give a water bottle. And wait, they sacked it. The friend didn't snitch. It was caught on camera at a hotel. And why would they sack him? Everything was like they removed him from the university. And it's not cool. It's not cool at all.
You can't issue a uni for that shit. You can't sack someone for like.
It's just the height of movie to the whole world was in panic. Right? Singapore was strict on about it. Yeah, really strict about it.
You can have at least tested.
I don't know
if you're tested positive, then you sack him. Okay, I can understand that.
I don't know if the parents took any action against the university, but anyway, within 6 to 7 hours of that happening, he hung himself. Yeah. And so imagine what was going through that kid's mind. To get to know that, okay, I can't go back home.
Because my parents like to help them. Yeah.
So you know what? My brothers go to Australia. And the whole thing is, okay, go to Australia, succeed. And obviously it's going to need massive amount of money here, but if you don't, so feel free to come back. And here you can come and live here with us, you know. And but for a kid to commit suicide, there will be a lot of pressure. But it's just so that's where that can really end up going. So I believe parents should pressurize their children for sure. But it should be done into a certain level. There should also be a level of trust, a level of acceptance created in families so that children feel comfortable coming and telling their parents. There are so many suicide cases because of relationships, because kids are too afraid to come and tell their parents. It's like, yeah. What do you think about that? Are you all going through a cross-cultural, a cross-religion relationship?
Yeah.
Does that like
No. So I've matured to a point where I've learned to deal with them tactfully and learn to draw boundaries. I don't know, won't get involved in research. I won't be involved in sleep. And I understand that there are values that the family has and we have to figure those things. So I've drawn clear boundaries. So, but if this was my younger self and I know what emotional mature to handle it, I don't think I would have survived. I would have felt trapped. I would have felt like I had no one to talk to. Because my girlfriend would be there for me. Like, she's not always, she's not gonna be like, yo, you have to figure your family out, figure your adult life out before you can expect me to be with you. Mm-hmm. So if you're like all emotionally unstable, I can't be with you. Okay. In a way, that's messed up to say that women don't like emotionally unstable men, but no one likes emotionally unstable anyone. Yeah. Like that's true. That's true. How it is. Yeah, it's just like, you got a lot more to figure out before you can think of a relationship. Like it's that. So I guess I don't know. Like I feel like my brothers and my sisters will eventually go through it, and I feel like if they do eventually go through it, I have to be there for them. But that's assuming that my parents will take the worst possible position and they're not that bad. I feel like they have the best intentions for both of us. And if shit goes down, then I'll probably be there to help them out. But even for that to happen, I have to first fix my tooling as well.
So I think in conclusion, we can say that.
Yes. I just have one final point to ask. Did you rather be pressured by your parents or rather be pressured by life?
What does that mean?
Because your parents are going to pressure you to do well. Yeah. So if you if you follow through, you might not be happy, but you won't be broke, or you will actually be in a good place. To a point of later on, you might be like, oh, thank God, my parents in this. But let's say you don't do that, life will eventually pressure you regardless.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
broke.
No, let's say, this is why rich kids can have like a bit out of their sweetheart, but like for majority, life will eventually pressure you, and it's all about like
How you handle that?
yeah. So which pressure do you pick?
I appreciate my parents' pressure because again, like I said, my parents' pressure was very positive.
I think I would pick life. Really, because I wouldn't like if I went. It's an emotional thing. Where, say, if I went through my parents' pressure, I would feel like I'm trapped. Versus if I feel it through life, it's like okay, this is my decision.
That's tricky because see, if your parents don't pressure you, they probably might not even be equipped to handle the pressures of life.
But you either fumble under it or you get it done. Like I won't believe that because like I got bullied in school. There was pressure on me to do better. My parents never came to like help out because every time I went and told this, he was hitting me all the time. My parents were like, so why didn't you go to the teachers? So like I tell the teachers don't do shit, and they're like, okay, then like stop talking to him, say it on or something. I'm like, okay, fine. Clearly you're not gonna do anything. Then I had to go and figure that out by myself by going to the gym and figuring out and like drawing boundaries with that dude. Eventually we fought, and then after that we became friends for some reason. I don't know why.
That's a guy thing.
Yeah. Then later on, what happened is, so that mentality is what I adopted from my teenagers, which I carry through to this day. Is I have to feel it, and I have to back myself up that I don't crumble under pressure. Because like
there's something like this as well. Now see, if your parents took action when you told that you were getting bullied, and when you maybe scolded that kid, you wouldn't have been able to be confident in yourself that you can handle a problem. It's the same situation for me, right? I mean, in my whole school career, only instance my parents came to for anything was when that whole prefectship issue went down. And that's because I couldn't have got the bat back if not for them. Because I was like, there were, I think, 13 or 14 guys who got suspended. So just 2 guys got kicked out. And that priest was not a priest, he was devil. Right? He was, I'm telling you, he was the worst priest in the history of our college, right? And he would have never considered giving us the guys back. Right? To the point where certain parents who have come to talk to him regarding other issues, he just ignores them. I've seen parents like a dad begging him to talk to him. It's like, Father, just talk to me. He's like, no, I don't care what you have to say. He's that kind of, I don't want to swear, but he's an animal. He's a prick. He's a prick, thank you. Right? But, so that's what
I hate that stuff. Like when you like going treat people with the
you're school, you're looking at kids. Right? And this guy, he was not equipped to be a rector of a school.
that you can talk to parents.
Yeah, this guy was not equipped to be a rector at school. And I think if my parents didn't get involved, I would never have got the badge back. Not just me, all the guys who got kicked out would not have helped him out.
Was he good friends with your toxic ass director?
Oh yeah, very good friends.
Makes sense.
That's why we couldn't kick him out that year.
Oh,
You get it? So the toxic director, he told me and my Leo that he's leaving school because of us. We were like, yes. Right? And so 2018 he got directed by someone else. 2019, we left in 2018. 2019 that guy came back. Right? Because he was tight with, we wrote a letter to the rector with the signatures of I think easily about 50 old boys. Like powerful old boys. And said, this guy is not suitable to deal with children. He's blackmailing children. He's emotionally abusing children. All of that was good. Like you just tossed in the garbage. Right? And so when the new rector came, this guy got kicked out. So now he's nowhere near school. Because he's not emotionally stable. He is more emotionally immature than any of us.
I think that in a production.
No. And so this rector was the same. But anyway, prior to that, every situation that I have faced, I was able to face it alone. Because of that, like when I'm going to school, I have to deal with topics which came there. And I think with families that are too accepting and not pressuring them enough, they end up being like babies and you can't handle like real life problems. So those are the guys that they all end up getting depressed and then suicide. How do you do?
There's lack of guidance. It goes hand in hand, guidance and pressure. And we are just telling people to be more on the guidance side and less on the pressure side.
So if you're answering this question again, either which way to agree or disagree, the best way to go about it is the first paragraph has to be a personal experience. The second one can be a more generic point. Either which way.
Economic, career, survival.
What are some, so to wrap up with that, so what are some other points in this particular topic that we can do?
I think I get that out a lot by this.
Mainly it's a lot to do with finance.
Do you feel like there's like pressure with dad is like doing something somewhere and in between the also pressure to be the same thing and just like following the footsteps of your parents kind of thing?
Yeah, especially if your parents are like ultra successful.
Something like that,
Then you are pressured to live up to.
Yeah.
And that's something that, so there are two kinds of parents just to generalize, right? One set of parents are parents who haven't achieved anything in life. So because of that, they want to achieve their dreams through their children. I believe that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But there are also parents who have achieved to a different level and then they want the children to follow in their footsteps. That could also go two ways. Like some children might be really motivated, like, oh, that's a successful businessman. Like if you look at Dhammika Pereira and his family, I think that's pretty much the case. Like his daughter is doing extremely well. She's managing multiple businesses and she has a role model to look up to. But in some families, I suppose that pressure could go sideways. For example, if you're a really successful businessman as a father, I don't know if you read this book. The book is called
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
No, not Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's by Sidney Sheldon. It's one of Sidney Sheldon's most famous books.
No idea.
You don't know who Sidney Sheldon is? Okay, so damn, I forget what it's called.
Alright.
So anyway, in the book, right, there's a really, really successful lady who is a businessman, Kate Blackburn, right? And she wants her entire family, or rather her son, her daughter, to take over her business, right? Cook a bread, right? But the son doesn't want, he wants to be a painter, right? He's more artistic, he has no intention of taking over the business. She manipulates everything he does, right? Like she manipulates the girlfriend he has, she manipulates the art exhibitions he goes, it manipulates everything to make him depressed with that side of his life so that he will take over the business. Right? In the end, he goes mad and he shoots the mother. But unfortunately for him, the mother doesn't die and he ends up going to a mental asylum.
Yeah.
The second part of that book focuses on the two kids of her son, so basically her grandkids. She forces them to take over the business and then they end up clashing with each other. It's a whole fiasco of a book, but there could also be families like that where there's too much pressure following your parents' footsteps.
Yeah.
So nothing should be done to an extreme. There should be a bit of pressure. There should also be acceptance. That's how I think a good, healthy family can function.
Yeah.
So that being said, if you're writing this answer, then most people will go with yes, parents do pressure their children to succeed.
Or at least most people will do like that.
True enough. Western countries also, don't you think they have?
I know, man, like a lot of. I feel like in Western countries, like by the time your
parents don't have control of their kids.
Yeah. And by the time they're
The
18,
biggest stuff that proud parents have is they can hammer the new yellow kids. Which you can't do in a Western country. Bro, now in Sri Lanka also that teachers and all can't teach children.
Yeah, now I'm not serious. It's good, but not bad.
You wish that was the case here, bro. I enjoyed doing hammer. I was a story to tell.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, at that time it was not fun, obviously. But looking back, it's like, oh, I got hammered like this, I got hammered like that. We pissed off the teachers. It was crazy. It was crazy. And teachers had no.
Government school teachers can be really bad with the hammering stuff.
Wow, teachers really bad. The city government.
Y'all are more private.
Trash. City government. Yeah, private, I guess. But yeah, look, trash. Our teachers had no regard. I can't even imagine, like, now I'm also a teacher, I teach kids. I can't even imagine like slapping the
That's the only thing, like, whenever I teach drama or whenever I do anything, like, I don't feel like
hitting them. They won't have. Like, I feel like also,
they don't get it.
Yeah.
They're dumbasses for not getting what we teach them. But at the end of the day, I can't go to an extent where I can.
I also feel some of like our teachers, priests were really emotionally mature. I know that entire management of that particular priest we had, I don't want to say name, but that his entire management was really, really emotionally mature. They were out to get revenge from kids.
Yeah. That's the case with government schools, not the best thing what it is.
They were mad. I don't know, these guys were done, but who made them priests? But they were definitely not ordained. My God. So, yeah. But anyway, like, I don't think hitting is a bad thing. But as long as you do it in a methodical way.
Yeah.
We need to know that.
If you just really giving someone the power to like abuse someone, it's too risky.
It's too risky. Some people do.
Some people
Take
they
it
use
to
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Alright. That's in this conversation now.
Yeah.
He's going on.
It was a very deep conversation.
Yeah.
This one was very deep, very emotionally scarring. You might lose your emotions after you close the pod.
That's true.
Which if you guys don't understand, it's gonna cry.
No, I haven't tried it. Oh, that. Ever since I left that job, I haven't tried. That job.
I think a relationship will eventually change.
No chance. No chance.
There is.
Don't trust me. Like I left that job about 2021, which it's been 4 years, and I've had a couple of relationships since.
Yeah, maybe not Georgie, right? But especially anyone that you can think.
Yeah, I don't think it was that big.
If a woman I go sitting off the wrong for you.
Oh damn! No!
You can't hold it in, it will come out. It will come out.
Oh god, I don't think so.
And then you have to marry her.
And then we'll have a podcast about it.
And by other point, you have to marry her. Because if you don't, she'll go and bitch to all her friends that you cried like this. So you have to marry her at least once.
Yeah, thank God, in the relationships I've had, I haven't cried at all. That's something they cannot say.
I actually cried in both my relationships.
Really?
But just twice. One.
The first one, I believe, like, I was emotionally mature to handle it. I believe if I was mature enough to handle it, I wouldn't have tried. I don't think it would have even gone that south if I was emotionally mature. If I was emotionally mature. But that was a great experience because I believe it was a huge learning curve for me. And the relationships that followed, I was so happy with the way I handled it.
I mean, your first time is always this teenage love, man. Those things never work out. They're just fun. They're just
It works out for some people.
Some, that's very rare. But you know,
I know a few people.
Yeah, but also, yeah, some people work out well for them, they get married. I know a couple who have gotten married from like teenage. They fell in love when they were 16 and they're married when they're like 25, 26. But there are some who do find love in teenage years, but then feel like they want to explore and they start taking on infidelity. But it's a different topic. To be continued.
To be continued. We should have a general podcast. I mean, just sit there.
Then have a chat
With the tea.
That's sponsored.
Dilma sponsor. Bro, stay out. That will go on for about 3 hours, 4 hours. You don't have enough stories, man. So, we need to invest in a better setup.
Yeah. We don't have to. I've got both. I've got the connection with each other. And we can have a good setup.
What do you say? Should we have a better setup? Let us know in the comments below.
It's still we do. No one knows. We're not there.
One day. Bro, that's how we started everything, bro. TikTok started with 0, Instagram started with 0. This started with 0. We hit 1,500 subscribers.
Yeah,
so thanks everyone who have subscribed to the channel. So we hope to keep giving you some valuable content in the future as well. So we're done with this video. Till our next video.
Keep practicing.
Remember the tagline.
I know that for a second.
Till our next video.
Keep practicing.
Thank you.